discuss our October book club pick, which was When Javi Dumped Mari by Mia Sosa. Both Steph and I read it a few weeks ago, so we're rusty, musty dusty, but we're here.
I took a shower. I'm just rusty, not dusty.
I mean our memories, okay?
Yes.
So in this we follow Javi and Mari, who became friends while in college and have a kind of will they won't they thing going on for several years. And finally, Mari is engaged to marry someone else. And so naturally shenanigans are bound to happen because Javi's in love with her and she is also in love with Javi. So that's kind of the situation here. I gave it myself 3 stars because I had some things I liked, I had some things I didn't like, but ultimately it was still enjoyable enough that I'm like, I'll read another Mia Sosa eventually. This just might not have been the best one.
Yeah, this was my first Mia Sosa. And I did enjoy myself, but I have some structural things that prevented me from rating it higher. So I think I gave this like a 3.25 or a 3.5. I will double check right now. I should have checked that before. But yes, only like marginally higher than yours.
Yeah. Just me, someone who reads a lot of romance and has very specific desires. This one just didn't quite get there, even though I really hoped that it would. I really thought it would, but didn't quite accomplish that. So if any of y'all have read it, please let us know what you thought about it, what you rated it, any of that good stuff. But I guess we'll try to start with our non-spoilery thoughts on the book.
Yes, same.
Hi, Damien.
3.5. Yes, same. I rated it 3.5 too.
The book was all right. Yeah, that I think would be the main description for it personally.
Yeah, we're gonna repeat all the same babbles.
Yeah,
for the people.
It's gonna be the same things we said there. We're just saying it again here.
Yeah. So, should we try to structure this? Because I know we're gonna rant at some point. Say any positives? Focus on some positives, or
yeah.
Okay.
So I can start with my positives, which is I love Javi. Javi was my favorite character in that entire novel. I loved him to begin with. I loved him at the end. He was great. I really feel like between our 2 main characters, he was the most well-rounded. Like both of them needed to grow throughout the novel, but I felt like we actually followed more of his journey of growth and change versus Mari.
Let me know what you think.
Coffee? Iced coffee? Salted caramel?
Don't read the thing, just try it.
Ooh, it's good. Thanks. I agree. Javi was my favorite character too, just because, and like we'll get into later on, like, well, repeating what you said, he was the most flushed out, and I also feel like Mari's situation needed some more flushing out. Let's just keep it there. He wasn't as flushed out as he was, even though character grew from her.
Yeah. I loved Mari way more at the beginning because she was everything and Javi was just there. That's fair. I feel like I did like her more in the beginning. I mean, Javi was always my favorite, but just in general, like beginning to end, how did I feel about the characters? I feel like I liked her more to start with And then by the end, I was like, you did not give me enough.
Yeah. And yes, he's a dingus.
But I would say that in some things, I think he was actually more mature than Mari. Like they were basically kind of half and half. Like what one of them would be more mature about, the other one would be more immature about, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So you know, that's
yeah. I also felt similarly, I think, to Damien about Mari in the beginning, where I really liked her more, and then more toward, like, not that I liked her more than Javi, but I just liked her as a character more.
Yeah.
And as we got towards the end of the book and things were resolving the way that they're resolving, I just kind of wanted to grab Mari and be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I ended up just wanting more from her and her story. Yeah.
Okay. Should we start getting a little deeper into the plot? Because I feel like we've been pretty vague.
Made sure.
Okay. So you already gave the premise. So
Yes.
going off of that, in the beginning of the book, the very first scene, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Javi meeting the new fiance.
Yeah. Yes.
And so we do get flashbacks throughout the book of like their relationship from when they met in college up until now, which is like 8 years or close to 10 years, something like that. And so it's already established that they've been friends forever. He's the best friend, and she drops it on him. Hey, by the way, my fiance is coming to eat with us. I'm getting married in like a month or so. And he's like, what you mean?
Yeah. Because all this time, they've basically kind of vetoed or, checked each other's dates. And so this man is just appearing out of nowhere as her fiance when he was finally actually ready to be like, actually, I want us to try to be together. Like, these things have happened in my life and I feel kind of ready to make that shift. But obviously he doesn't say anything because she just brought a whole ass fiance to the dinner. So
yeah. And so narrative wise, this was one of the first things that I was like, Mia Sosa, why did you make this decision? Because if Natalie came out of the blue, or even vice versa, if I had come out of the blue and been like, guess what? This is a big life thing happening that you didn't know about the whole time, one of us would be swinging at the other one like, why did you not tell me this? That is not bestie behavior.
Exactly. That was one of the big things that to start with, I was like, are the besties in the room with us? Because I don't see them. Because what do you mean? You've dated a man for several months, never told me about it. You're finally telling me, and it's because you are engaged to be wed to this man? No, that is not bestie behavior. That's actually you hate me behavior.
Literally. That's you didn't trust me with this information behavior. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. We later on find out as well that none of her female friends knew either. They were all like, you're engaged. And some of them were low-key like, okay, so when are we seeing Javi? And then she's like, no, it's Alex. What are you talking about? It's like, huh? How are you going to spring a surprise engagement? We don't even know this man at all. It's crazy.
So that is the first big red flag of Mari. You have some unresolved issues and I need an answer.
Yeah. And the problem is we never get them.
That's a big one for us.
That's the big thing for us with this part of the narrative, which is like we start with she decided to do this. She's dated this man for a few months. Now they're engaged. They're almost having a shotgun wedding. And it's never actually clarified why.
Mhm.
Like, the excuse is given that, oh, the wedding venue that is her dream venue has an opening. But there's no explanation for the urgency to get engaged in the first
No,
place.
from her, right? Because like,
Yes.
and again, I think we've said already that we're going spoilers, so like, sorry, not sorry. You know, this is how we're gonna have to talk about it, because beyond the premise, it's like everything that makes up their relationship is part of the why, which is the big question of the book. So it's like we get excuses from her family who is on board with this, because there's a lot of like family drama manipulation going on, but we never get the why from Mari herself, of why she was suddenly like, you know what, sure, let's settle down. We can kind of infer from the way that she treats Javi and the way that I personally feel like she was in a couple times setting a boundary with him, but when he set a boundary with her, she retaliates by going and getting married. And I'm like, girl, I see it, but she never acknowledged it, or and it wasn't really talked about or addressed. So I feel like the book didn't give us a why.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that was my biggest frustration. Like,
Mhm.
everything with Mari felt unresolved and unfinished.
Yeah.
Because Mari clearly had her own issues we had to work through. But then I was like, did we work through them? I don't think
No.
so. I don't really think so.
No. By the end of the book, Javi worked through a lot of his things, and she was kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, same person.
Um,
I mean, she was successful, and like career wise and education wise, everything about her is like peaky and beautiful. But as a partner, I no emotional growth.
yeah. And that's a big issue, because she had problems with both her parents, different ones, to be clear, because part of her whole thing during her time not dating Javi is that the woman doesn't know how to be in a committed relationship, because she's actually scared of rejection and abandonment. And that all started because her mom, when she was a teenager, decided she wanted to move back to Brazil. But she didn't want to move to Brazil. She wanted to stay in the US. Her dad had no interest in going back to Brazil either. So they both just stayed in the US, but she felt that sense of abandonment from her mother, which is never resolved neither with her mom nor internally with herself, frankly. That was a big issue she was having, and why she couldn't stay in a relationship based on that fear. So I was also frustrated by that, because I was like, this is something interesting. Like, all of the issues that Mari is dealing with are interesting, but Mia Sosa didn't really do anything with them. That's kind of the dilemma. Like, she established them. I don't know why we established something to then not have any actual follow through. Because the most we get is by the end, when the wedding is finally about to happen, her mom arrives a little bit early, and she's just like so happy to see her, and she feels relieved, or whatever you want to call it. But then that's that. Colorín colorado. And I'm like, we haven't actually addressed anything here.
Yeah. Because, okay, so why weren't you all visiting each other more frequently?
Yeah.
Like, she has money. Her dad runs an expensive law firm. that she works at, and she has a degree, and she's actually gaining traction to the point where she's trying to like do her own little business. So she has money to go visit her mama or fly her mama up to visit her. So what was the actual issue?
Yeah, exactly. And we don't get an answer.
I mean, in some ways, it was very telenovela of Mia Sosa in the way like that the last quarter of this whole thing wrapped up. Once we got to the bachelorette party and it started being wedding stuff, I was like, this is giving telenovela. Which I'm not mad at, because I love Mia telenovela.
Yes.
So I saw the vision, but narratively I was like, we have too many holes.
Yeah. Because then the other big thing is with her dad, that she's a daddy's girl, mostly again because, well, he's the one who decided, yeah, you can stay with me and we'll just both live in the US. And so she feels a lot of duty to him and of doing what he wants. And then he goes around and schemes behind her back. And so we get the blowout of that, of basically he low-key orchestrated her relationship with her fiance. And all in the thought that, no, she'll get married to him. He will inherit the business. And she'll just be a little homemaker, have her babies of her own. And the business will still be in the family, quote unquote, because it's her husband. When it's like, no, bro, you should have been like, clearly my daughter is interested in the same business I'm in. Naturally, she should be the one inheriting my business and taking over it, because it's also like she's shown that she's good at it. Like if she was failing, if she was really sucking at her job, then I would understand his reticence, but like that's not what was happening. And then again, we have the nice telenovela blowout of that information coming out and Mari learning that. And the other many telenovela moments at the end where they're supposed to be celebrating Javi's big moment, and that's when her dad reappears. But again, that ends up nowhere because we barely have any pages left. We don't have time to resolve this. So then it's just, he's there, she's annoyed, the end.
And that's how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, so I don't know. That part was the weakest part of the book. But I will say, with like, in some ways I don't see Mari as completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like I do know there are people out there who are just like, red flags don't exist to them, right? And I think we've all had situations where, like, in hindsight is 2020, right? And she does get to a point where Javi's choices and how he's interacting or with Alex are bringing to light how little Alex actually knows about Mari. So I feel like all of that could have been very reasonable and believable as like a plot. Again, if I had just gotten an answer from Mari, like, girl, why are we here? But the big moment that came up of Alex accidentally admitting that he really doesn't know anything about Mari's tastes at the dinner table thing, I'm like, that feels like a real, I can see that happening on the daily in some restaurants, being like, the tea.
We can't finish this. We're not close to, but I need to bring up the thing that pissed me off about Alex.
Which one?
Which was what he did to Javi. Like,
oh, yes.
The entirety of this novel, Javi has been really clear that he doesn't really drink. And at some point, he reveals that the reason for this is that when he was younger, his brothers got him drunk. I'm pretty sure it was without him knowing, got him really drunk. That was a very negative experience for him. And so he has just decided not to drink.
Mhm.
And one of the activities for the wedding was to go to a wine tasting or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it was a wine tasting. And they were very clear at this vineyard that they did have non-alcoholic stuff available that was very high quality, very good, and they were happy to provide that for whoever wanted it. And Javi made it explicitly clear that he was interested in the non-alcoholic beverages.
Mhm.
But then Alex went ahead and got the servers to give him the alcoholic beverages. So he got drunk because obviously he just kept drinking chill because he thought there was nothing in here for him to need to be careful about. Got his ass drunk without his consent. And then that also never really got resolved.
Yes.
Because Javi insinuated to Mari, Alex did this. And she was just like, well, I'm sure if it happened, it was just an accident. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Right?
If there is a possibility that my fiance violated the consent of my best friend, everything is ending right there.
Mhm.
Right there.
Mhm. 100%.
That is a hard line. You don't do that to people. Doesn't
Literally.
matter who the hell they are. You could hate them to their very core. It doesn't matter.
Yep. That. Yes.
It
So
was
lucky. Yes.
Mhm.
Like honestly, I was like, Madi, the moment Javi tells you this, you should have been like, nope, the three of us are gonna meet right now. I need Alex to give us an explanation. How did this happen?
Mhm.
Tell me right now. Like, we're not moving on until I find out how this happened. And because even if Alex didn't do it and it was a waiter staff, somebody somewhere messed up. How did someone who explicitly said, this is where my hard line, who fucked up?
Exactly. And like Damien added here, even if it was an accident, no apologizing, not any attempts to resolve it.
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
I'm sorry, it's chancla time.
Yes.
It's chancla time.
Correct.
No.
Mm-hmm. No, I would have made the biggest stink. No, she took that way too cool. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because when that happened, that I think that was one of the big moments where I was like, Madi, you losing me, girl. You lost me.
Yeah.
I'm not Team Madi right now.
Yeah, no. I remember I got to that part and I literally called you because I was boiling with rage. I was boiling with rage. I was like, this cannot have just happened. And Madi was so chill about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually we also get Javi brainwashing and he's also chill about it. I'm like, this is also inconsistent narratively.
Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
He should have stayed upset because again, he has literal trauma about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened again. I'm like, no.
No, he should have been made a bigger deal. On that same note, I want to talk about when I was upset with Javi and when Madi should have been more upset with Javi, because he's not an angel either, even though I prefer Javi. When he brought that dog, I was like, no.
That was a huge red flag to me. He brought that dog to that wedding and I was like, sir, what the hell did you just do?
Literally.
I'm like, you do not gift people a pet without talking to them and already knowing that they want one in the first place.
Yes. Because
Hello?
technically, did she want a dog? Yes. But she was also clear that her life just couldn't fit a dog. And it's like, yes, he's giving a solution by saying it's your dog, but it lives at my house. But like, this is an emotional burden that she did not consent to. No.
Exactly. To me, the big point is like a dog is a living being. It's a creature that is alive. You don't give those to people lightly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
You don't just insert a pet into somebody's lives.
correct.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the fact that it's like, okay, so it's at his house, but it's her dog. So when she comes, it's clearly like goading into, I'm giving you a reason to come spend time with me more.
Yeah.
Which is also a red flag. Like if I was Mari and my bestie did something like that at my wedding, did this whole little show for attention, clearly I'm like, are you jealous? Do we need to have a conversation? Do we need to make this a throuple? Like what? Who does that?
I know.
No.
It's ridiculous. I mean, and to start with, like already, because part of what she brings up as well is like Alex has no interest in pets. He doesn't want one, which to me, that's also a red flag because I'm like, honey, if I want a pet, my partner needs to want a pet too.
Correct.
I am sorry. This is to me similar vein to wanting or not wanting children. You have to be on the same page because these are things that involve your daily life.
Yes.
And desires that you have for what is in your life literally on the daily, because pets are with you all the fucking time. So are children.
Pets are like children.
Yes. So it's like, obviously it's a lesser responsibility than a human child, but it's still a responsibility. So I'm like, girl, why are you putting up with this man? In that regard, like obviously what Javi did was still wrong. It was still wrong. But
Mari, I mean, it goes to show how much Mari was changing herself to fit Alex, which goes back to all of her unresolved, I don't know what we're calling it. I don't know if it would be classified as trauma, but just like unresolved dating issues and like
she has mommy and daddy issues. So it's her unresolved mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah. It's like, girl. Yeah. But Javi, when they were younger in college, was a silly goose. And he made some silly decisions and things when they were younger. So what caused this whole fiasco was that there was a gap in their friendship, maybe of like 4 years, I think it said, like around senior year of college to in their early 20s, whatever, where they were no longer friends. And then they happened to come across each other. And okay, so Javi cuts Mari off without telling her anything, right? This part I didn't like because of when we found out the reason why. So the reason why that Javi cuts Mari off is because her dad inserts himself, who he doesn't like Javi, and he basically inserts himself and says, like, you know, she's too good for you. You're holding her back, blah, 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 whatever he says. And Javi was already kind of on the brink of being like, you know, I'm not in a good place. I feel like I'm holding her back. So her dad reinforced what he was already thinking. But I don't feel like we went far enough into Javi's explanation and feelings as to how it actually pushed him over the edge. I felt like it was kind of written in a way where he was just listening to her dad.
Yeah, to me, that was one of the things that it was revealed very, very late on, and I found it ridiculous. I was like, we could have known this from the moment we found out that he cut her off. There was no narrative reason reason to withhold this information. Because ultimately, even when it's brought up, it's just sprinkled in there, and then we just move on to whatever else is happening. Like, we don't really sit with it, which is part of why I'm like, then we should have just had this information to begin with. Because regardless, it does go with what's going on with Javi, because eventually, like, this is called When Javi Dumped Mari, because Mari feels dumped by Javi. She feels like multiple times he rejects her, and his rejections are all like, I want to do this, but I don't think I'm in the right place for us to do this. And sometimes he was even like, and I don't think you're ready either. Because pretty early on, he meets her and he's in love with her, but he's like, I don't think I can trust her with my heart. Like, I don't think that she's actually reliable. And if we tried something, that she wouldn't just use me and lose me, you know? And eventually it becomes more of him feeling like clearly she has her life sorted and I don't, and I am uncomfortable with that, which I feel like that's one of the big points where I lean in his favor, because ultimately, like, yes, in the real world, is it fine for one of you to be more established than the other person? Yes, this is fine. But if you are not both in acceptance of the other person being more established and the other one being less established in both directions, like this goes in both directions, if you're not both comfortable with this, that is setting up your relationship for failure.
Correct.
It is setting up your relationship for failure, because there will be resentment, either on both sides, on one side, whatever, because one of them will keep being like, man, I really haven't done what I want to do with my life. And the other side being like, why are they still a bum? Why can't they get their life together? And so to me, I supported him being like, I'm not in a place where I feel comfortable, because ultimately that's also very common for men. Men are raised to see themselves as providers. Like, if they're in a relationship, especially with a woman, they should be established. And even if it's not necessary, because that's what he says too, like, it's not about me thinking that I have to take care of you, is I want to be able to.
Yes.
So it's not a, now I need you to stay in the house and not do shit. It's, I want to have the ability to care for you, point blank.
Yeah. And I think he gives an example at one point in that conversation where he's like, you know, I know that you are an independent woman, you have your own job, you don't need anything, and that you want this. But if I want to take you out to dinner, I should be able to take you out to dinner. And if I can't do that, then I'm not ready to be in a relationship. And I was like, yeah,
exactly. And there's one point, because I feel like they have this conversation more than once. But there's one point where she's like, but I'm fine with this. But then within that same conversation shows that she's not fine with it. That she actually does low-key think that he's a bum. So it's like, you can't pay lip service to this kind of thing. Because for a romantic relationship to succeed, you have to actually know what you think, what you feel, what you're able to manage in a relationship. So you can desire something, but that doesn't mean that you're actually ready for it.
And part of that, so what comes after that relationship is where I got frustrated with Mari, because I felt like, so after they meet up again and they're like now adults, they're hooking up on and off, you know, they're being each other's wingman, and also like vetoing each other's dates, whatever. So dating other people, but then they're also hooking up in between and all these other things for like 2 or 3 years or whatever. But the point is, I feel like by that point that they had that big conversation, they had already been having smaller conversations where repeatedly she was trying to be more forward and he was like, no, let's keep it as friends. And when he finally made that hard line, that's when she was like, oh, okay, bet I'm gonna go get married. And I was like, girl, I don't like that you stepped on his boundary like that. Like, to me, that's toxic energy. And
yeah.
So anyway, that yeah. And also I think in that was also part of the same conversation where, like, I think Mari, because they had been hooking up, she's like, listen, we keep hooking up, we might as well try dating. And he's like, this is getting too real, you know that we can't just have a friends with benefits situation, we're not those kind of people, so let's not even entertain the idea that this isn't gonna get serious, because we know it is. So
yeah.
Sir. Also, can we talk about her friends?
Yes.
I like her friends.
I wanted more of her friends. Yeah. I was kind of like, because, okay, Javi is established that he's more of a loner. He doesn't really know how to socialize, #relatable. And so he doesn't really have friends, frankly. He has Mari, and that's pretty much it. And he has his rocky ass relationship with his brothers. That's kind of what he has. Mari is the one who's established to have friends from the beginning in college. But I wanted more of them. I liked them. I was like, more. I'm like, also, we needed to be more assertive as her female besties and be like, girl, what the hell? Because they all kind of just waited for her to have her own aha moment, and then they were like, at last.
Yes, literally, that's the part. Like, I think the closest one who was the one who was the closest to being honest with her or straightforward or blunt with her, actually, would be Sasha, I think was her name.
I think so. That sounds right.
But, like, honestly, besties tell besties, like, real friends tell real friends the truth. Like, listen, in this moment, you're being a red flag, or you're missing a red flag, or whatever the case is, because I'm not gonna let you make a fool of yourself, but I'm also not gonna let you, like, do something that you're gonna regret. Like, I'm gonna tell you, literally, before we went on the stream, I was like, I look like a mess, and Natalie was like, yep, fix yourself.
Yes. I was like,
yeah,
yep, I'm waiting for you to fix it, it's fine, you have 14 minutes. I literally told her, you have 14 minutes.
Yes.
I'm like, you know, yeah, I needed them to be more assertive. When one of her friends talked to her after Truth or Dare, I was like, here, Mari, baby, listen to this wise woman. Correct. Because, like, it's also the kind of thing where, like, Javi can't really fully be that support she needs, because they have the mess going on where they've just been in love the whole time. They keep saying they're besties. There is nothing bestie about them. They're just in love and absolute fools about it. So who she needed to actually be relying on were her close female friends that she was just in La La Land. In La La Land, that eventually, I think it also might have been Sasha, who was like, Javi, why don't you tell us about this information about her relationship? And he's like, well, bitch, I didn't know either. He's like,
oh, she was the one who called. Yeah, she called him as soon as they found out. She was like, boy, you're supposed to be bestie. Why don't you know?
Yep. And he's like, I found out basically when you found out.
Which to me says, at some point, at some level, Mia Sosa knew what she was doing with the mess of all of this drama and everything. She's aware. And that was, in some parts, intentional. Whether I liked it and agreed with it or not.
Exactly.
It was intentional.
Yes.
Nice, her female friends are, and they're telling her what's what, but she's not taking. I also feel like they didn't really tell her though.
I think it was a little bit too little too late
Mhm.
kind of thing, where it's like, again, as we said, Sasha in particular seemed to be a little bit clearer on like, honey, what's happening?
Yeah.
But it was still like, it could have been more.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could have been more, especially because in the college years, it is a bit clearer, like that they are close. They have a close relationship. She and her other female friends. So it's like, then why has this happened?
Yes. Like Sasha was asking her questions and trying to be there for her and giving her some level of guidance, but I don't think they were clear enough. Like Sasha, I think would have been within the right if when they were sitting on the beach and Mari was opening up, would have been like, girl, you're being toxic as hell right now. Why are you doing this to yourself? like if Sasha or any of her friends would have been justified in just opening up and saying, baby, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Like it could have been said in a loving way. Like it doesn't have to be aggressive, because assertive is not the same thing as aggressive.
Bingo.
But yeah, they need to be a little firmer and clearer with her. Like, I'm concerned. Like it could have been literally that. I'm concerned that we're making such a big life decision and none of us knew about it, because we're your friends, we're here to love you, support you, etc. So we should be knowing that these things are happening.
Correct.
That's just part
Okay
of a friendship. You
It's
know,
okay to take issue with it. Yeah, 100%. So I loved her friends. I wanted more of them. The bickering and stuff. I loved it.
and I'm thinking my best to go and look at my ex fiance and went, oh baby, no.
Good.
You know, that's the kind of energy you need in your friends.
Yeah.
Turned out to be so right. Yeah. And like, again, it's the kind of thing that obviously when it comes to something like romantic relationships, yes, people need some tenderness and care when you're trying to push them on this subject. That's why it's like, you don't need to be aggressive, but you need to be assertive to get the other person to at least try to think about it. Like they could be in enough delusion that they just fight back on it point blank, but as a friend, you should still try.
Yes, which I could see Mari being not open to having that conversation at the time, but still try. That's the part.
Yeah.
So even Mari's mother, which again is like another part that I'm not sure that I fully understood either. But like it seemed, even though the issue being that she doesn't see her mother very often, and so that had an emotional toll on her, she spoke to her mother on the phone frequently enough where they had a good relationship on the phone. And at no time did Mama say, oh, but what about Javi? Like, I don't know.
I do actually feel like she did. But
she asked about how Javi's doing, but she didn't, I don't think she asked about like straightforward enough, like how we're suggesting and saying like, are you sure you don't want to think about how this is affecting your relationship with Javi or where that went? She's just like, okay, mija.
Yeah, I think I can kind of see that. I don't know. To me, it's just obviously, as an outsider that I'm just reading the book, to me it was also very clear that her mama loved Javi. Her mama loved Javi. So to me, it was clear where she stood. Maybe she needed to be clearer with her own daughter, but it was clear to me that Javi was a win in her mama's books.
Yeah.
um, but yeah.
So I don't know. And then, okay, I will also say the whole point of Javi dumping Mari was because he did not feel like he was in a stable position to be in a relationship. And when the wedding comes and we're in his head and he's saying to himself, I'm ready, but now I can't say it because now she's getting married. I also don't necessarily feel like his situation at that point had not changed enough for me to reconcile. Well, why do you suddenly feel like you're stable enough for this?
I have forgotten about this. Yes, we're in agreement about this because since he spent so long literally being like, no, I don't think I'm ready. I'm like, then why now? Because eventually we learned that like one of his big goals was finishing a script for a play. That was one of his big things that he had been working on for literal years, but wasn't really making progress in, not significant enough progress. And so by the start of the novel, he has finished it, but it's also like there eventually is brought up the caveat of like there's still the music that needed to be added to it. So I'm like, honey, then it's not finished. Then it's not finished. If we need to have musical numbers, then it's not done. So I was like, I don't get why suddenly now you feel comfortable with this. Which again, I mean, at the end of the day, which I feel like Damien had brought up, like there didn't actually need to be, the change needed to be internal versus necessarily practical. Like it didn't really need to be that his circumstances changed, just that his way of thinking changed. I can see that, but I couldn't make peace with it. Personally, I could not, because we spent so long making it clear that he wasn't at peace with this. Like this was a significant barrier for him.
I also feel like externally speaking, because of the fact that he made a big deal out of like, I am not in a financially stable place where I can take care of you. That is an external thing that he needed to change. And so while he does find success with his script and all of those things at the end of the book, when he finally gets his show and its success and whatever, but by the time that happens, he's already finally dating Mari.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, now he's got the financial success that he was talking about, and also his ambitions are coming to fruition. So he feels like on an ambitious level, he's at a similar place with her where they both have their dreams that they're aspiring to and actively working towards. So by that point where he has the cognitive shift of, okay, I'm ready, he hasn't externally done anything, I think, to justify all those other issues that he was saying were his reasons why he can't be with her. So I feel like on both ends, externally and internally, I didn't see enough growth from him before they started dating to justify why now.
Yeah. I would agree. Because before we found out the nitty-gritty of it, I was assuming, or I was starting to assume, that there had actually been a significant change, which is why he had been ready. But then we got closer and closer to the resolution of everything, and then I was just like, Javi, why are you ready? Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I'm like, okay, but wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything.
Okay. The last thing I would want to bring up, again, as a romance lover, is that, what do you mean we barely get any stuff of them actually being together? because we're getting to basically the end of the line and the wedding hasn't even happened.
Mhm.
The wedding itself hasn't even happened. So we kept going and going, and I'm like, we're about to reach a point. They're gonna get together, and then the book is over. And in essence, that's what happened. And I'm like, no.
They were together for like 10 pages.
I'm like, this is a romance. I want to see our actual characters be together. Because I don't count any of their will they, won't they, back and forth bullshit before, because it was all exactly what I just said. Bullshit. Neither here nor there, no maybe. I'm like, no, none of this is satisfying. If even at least for some time they had actually tried to date, and so we had gotten some of those good moments of them dating, I think I might have felt more at peace with barely getting anything at the end. But we did not get that.
Mhm.
We did not get that. So I got to the end and I'm like, where's my time with that happy couple?
Mhm.
No.
Because there was a lot of spice. They was bumping and grinding and all that stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there was a lot of romance. It was
Exactly.
tension.
Exactly. And I'm like, this is a romance. Where is my romance? Pray tell. I want to be romanced.
Silly.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yeah, I think that's all I have to add
Yeah.
about it. Do you want to add anything else before we talk about what we're reading next month?
No, I don't have anything else. That's all she wrote.
Well, in November, we are reading Evocation.
That version is so pretty. So pink. I'm so jealous.
I regret every day that I didn't get you this one, and I was too scared of them running out and got you the other. It's like, what is it? I was a dingus.
Oh.
But yes, we are reading Evocation by S.T. Gibson.
Mhm.
Poly dark
Fantasy.
Dark fantasy. I think it's romance also.
There is messy poly shit happening.
Yeah, it's not a romance like this is a romance categorically. Yeah. It's more there is romance, but it's mostly a dark fantasy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, yay!
So that's cool. What you have to look forward to us reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
For now, we'll just see you next time.
Yep, we're gonna go to sprints. Join the Discord if you want to chat and all that jazz. Make sure you're subscribed. Wait, I can do this. Pointing at you. There we go.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.